Yo, how's it going, everyone? This is Mitchell Mander here, and welcome to another review of the Pokemon Journeys series. We'll be covering episode 133 in today's review, and it is part 1 of 2 of the Project Mew finale, with Go and the others at the faraway island in search of Mew. So how was this episode overall? Well, before I get onto the review, I just want to say, if you're new to the channel, you like this type of content, it'd be cool if you would like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It'd be pretty awesome if you would do that. But let's talk about this episode now, shall we? Now, Go and the others arrive on the faraway island. The first scene I thought was pretty interesting in this episode was when they were crossing a river, and Go is attacked by a random Marshtomp, and that's when we get the reveal that Tokyo owns a Virizion. It seems like this was a reference to the previous mission that Go and Gary were part of, where actually Go could have went and caught this Pokemon. It seems like Tokyo actually completed this mission on his own, which is pretty neat. He actually caught this legendary Pokemon, presumably on his own. So wow. So all three of them have a legendary Pokemon. So as they go further into the faraway island, their communication device is shut off, so they can no longer communicate with the professor. And interesting enough, their Pokeball is also shut off and they can't use it, so the Pokemon they have out currently are the only Pokemon they can utilize. Which is not so good for Go, as he has his Grookey out. We know how Grookey battles. So, yeah. Anyways, they start climbing this mountain, and it was a pretty tense scene, I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty claustrophobic myself, so I don't know if I would actually climb this mountain, as I have a pretty big fear of heights myself. But, yeah, they end up climbing this mountain, and as they're climbing, a wild Skarmory actually shows up and cuts the rope, separating Tsurugi and Gary, and then Go and the others are also separated as well. They lucked out, as there was basically a side of the mountain there which they could actually climb, like basically lean up against, and then climb their way to this waterfall area, which had a cave behind it, so they're able to get inside of the mountain. Whereas Tsurugi and Gary, they continue climbing up the mountain until they actually find an area to go down into the mountain. Anyways, as Go and the others start exploring the cave, they end up encountering a Solrock and a Lunatone, which Grookey attempts to attack, and it ends up doing nothing. And unfortunately, Asahi's Azumarill actually ends up saving the day, but Grookey is quite a bit disappointed by not being useful in this encounter. But they continue exploring, and they end up encountering a Kyogre, while simultaneously Gary and Tsurugi end up encountering a Groudon as this episode comes to an end. Now, before I move on, I want to mention this really quickly. There was a special that came out after the episode aired, involved Team Rocket, seemingly in the Paldea region. They come across a wild Sprigatito, which, from what I understand, we're going to get a teaser like this, or a special, I should say, for Fuecoco and Quaxley with the next episode and the episode after that. It seems like this potentially could be their way of teasing the Gen 9 anime or a Scarlet and Violet series. Not really sure what exactly is going to happen, but I found it to be pretty neat, so I'm wondering how the next 2 segments are going to go. But yeah, this may or may not confirm a Gen 9 anime, but it still doesn't confirm that Ash is continuing, so yeah, there's that. Now, overall, I thought this was an interesting episode. It unfortunately is the follow-up to episode 132, which is one of, if not the best episode of Pokemon to date. So, unfortunately, this episode is not going to be as good by comparison, as this also was mainly a setup episode, and next week's episode is going to determine this episode's final rating as a setup episode. But it was pretty interesting. I like the tension here, as they're not able to utilize their Pokeballs or their communication devices, which, they get separated, they might be in some trouble. But also not being able to utilize their Pokemon is also a problem as well, so this definitely makes things a lot interesting, or at least more interesting than if they actually had the ability to utilize their Pokemon or their communication devices. One thing I thought was pretty interesting in the episode was when Grookey tried to attack Solrock and Lunatone. It was very disappointed that it wasn't able to do anything. So this makes me wonder if maybe, just maybe, Grookey is going to evolve. I don't know if it's going to happen. It may not happen, but Grookey was feeling mighty disappointed. So he's either going to be learning a new move, or he's actually going to evolve in the next episode. Who knows what their plan is? But in the Project Mew preview, he's shown trying to attack Kyogre, so he's either doing it out of frustration, or he's actually going to evolve and actually do something. It'd be kind of crazy for him to go from Grookey to Wacky, and then he just suddenly does damage on Kyogre and drives it away. I don't know how much I would like that, but I don't know. I think it'd be pretty interesting to see what happens in the next episode with Grookey, because it does feel like he's feeling a little bit inadequate for not being able to contribute to the battle against Solrock and Lunatone. Alrighty guys, that's pretty much all I got for this episode review. Not really a whole lot to talk about here. Next week's episode is going to determine everything. Whether Go actually catches Mew, or sees Mew and tries to catch him, or says he's going to catch him one day. That's to be seen in next week's episode. And yeah, there's nothing else I really got for this episode review. So overall, decent episode. Probably give it like a 6 or 7 out of 10. I'm leaning on a 6 right now, but if next week's episode ends up being a good one, this will be a solid 7 out of 10. So guys, in the comment section down below, post your thoughts. What do you think of this episode? Did you like it? Did you hate it? I'd like to hear your thoughts. And do you think that Go is going to catch Mew? Let me know in the comment section down below, and if you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And guys, have a good day or night wherever you're at, and I'll see you all later. Bye.